Just take it.
Hot dog!
So the newest edition of Disney live-action remakes is Mulan, and this one has faced several delays and setbacks before its long-awaited release on Disney Plus this past weekend. For those who don't know, the story goes like this. Ancient China is being threatened by invaders from the north, so they call on one male from each family to go to war. However, seeing that her father is in no condition to go to battle, a young brave woman named Mulan decides to disguise herself as a man to fight in his place. Now this movie has a lot of people pretty divided, but if there's one thing that people are going to be agreeing with, it's that the cinematography with this movie is fantastic. Particularly in the beginning of the film, almost every scene starts off with a shot that looks like it's from a beautiful painting, and it really bummed me out that I wasn't watching these scenes on the big screen. I really enjoyed these moments because it's one of the few times in the film that it actually takes a breath and allows us to bask in the moment that the film is presenting. I was also a fan of the different choices they made to Mulan's character as compared to the original film. In the original movie, you can tell that she's a little rebellious, but she doesn't really become a full-on warrior until she actually starts training with the Chinese army. But in this movie, we find out that she's been training with her father her entire life, to the point that she actually has to hold back when she's fighting with her fellow soldiers. I actually like this choice of character because it really affirms that she's had this strong, rebellious spirit since she was a child. However, while I don't hate this movie, my main praises for the film have to stop there because everything else just felt adequate. One of the new additions that I really wasn't a big fan of was the new villain, Shan Lang. She's this powerful witch who can shapeshift and take out many enemies with ease, but for some reason she's still the sidekick to the main villain from the first movie. I didn't really get that, plus the film tried to give her this grand story arc, which didn't really go anywhere, so overall, it felt like she added nothing to the movie. Seriously, if you were to just cut her scenes out, this story could have remained more or less the same. But the biggest flaw that plagued this movie by far was the pacing. This movie was very choppy and fast-paced to the point that even the more dramatic scenes were quickly glanced over. For instance, there's a scene in the original movie where the army comes across a village that's been destroyed, and the movie literally stops in its tracks to recognize the tragedy taking place. Almost the exact same scene takes place in this movie, but instead of letting the atrocity of the situation sink in, somebody literally just says something like, "Where is everybody?" And then it urgently cuts to the next scene. Like I said, this happened multiple times throughout this movie, and it kind of goes against what the remake was supposed to be. Disney wanted to make this a darker and more realistic version of Mulan, however they ignore all of the opportunities to make it just that. So take the fact that we have a lack in drama, along with the fact that all the songs and jokes from the original have been cut out, and what we're left with is just an okay movie. It's so just okay that it probably ranks somewhere in the middle of all of the Disney live-action remakes. Now the acting is good and the story is still captivating, but because of all of its flaws and callbacks to the original, you can't help but to compare it to its predecessor. And if you're comparing the two, then yeah, the original is far superior than the live-action remake. And while this would just be an okay movie on its own, I think there are two main reasons as to why this is kind of pushing people to really hate this movie. Number one, the premium access price is $30. When you pay that much money for such an adequate movie, it really just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And number two, this is yet another title in Disney's list of live-action remakes that failed to hold up to the original. It makes no sense to remake the same movie, but worse. Especially for the hardcore Disney fans out there, I think the letdown after letdown for these remakes has left a lot of people feeling empty. Bottom line, while it's not horrible, I have a feeling it's not going to please a lot of Disney fans out there. And even to the casual viewers, it's definitely not worth spending $30 on. So save your money and check it out when it's free for Disney Plus subscribers on December 4th. It's a 6.5 out of 10 for me. As always, thank you so much for checking out my review today. If you saw Mulan, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and feel free to share this review with your fellow movie lovers. Like and subscribe to keep up to date with my new content, and I'll see you next time.